When you were saying earlier how how painting took over the way you view yourself, what did that look like? Did you start changing the way you dressed, or did you start putting on less makeup? Can you tell me in detail?
Sure, yeah. I definitely started changing the way I dress. Actually, I shaved my head really close to when I, got out of a relationship that wasn't very healthy and quit the office job. And that's when I started dressing, not in a way that was like, not to like be for the male gaze. That's like a really old-fashioned term that we use in painting a lot to talk about Renaissance paintings, where it's like, this like beautiful like naked odalisque woman like lounging. It's meant for like back in the day it was meant for male viewers' pleasure. So like I guess what I'm trying to say is I started dressing in cool, fun stuff that I really liked to wear, and not like, ooh, this is gonna like turn someone on. Not that I ever had that thought, but like,
yeah, sure,
it's in the back of your mind.
It is.
And
that's very honest, and I think
most
ladies, we can all,
yeah,
want to look sexy or
sure, yeah. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think there's a difference between constantly dressing yourself up just for others' views, and dressing yourself in a way that like fulfills you and you have fun with and you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that was the shaving of the head probably was also a catalyst for that too.
Did you just one day decide I've had it? Or did you have somebody around you, or
no?
Was there thought?
I thought about it for a long time because I was going to my hair when it's long is really like thin, and I was constantly like, instead of like buying enough groceries, I'd like go and spend money at the salon like trying to get it highlighted, which was the cool thing to do back then, and spending tons and tons of money trying to achieve these unrealistic hairstyles that I was seeing. I guess at the time it would have been magazines, not Instagram. Yeah. So I don't think Instagram was around yet. And I was like, this is just, it slowly started to dawn on me. I'm like, I could do so much more with the 1 hour a day that I spend trying to make my hair look a certain way.
Was it freeing? Did it feel freeing afterwards, or did you have any remorse at all? Or
no way.
You're ready.
I felt so free. Yeah. I felt really free, and that was 7 years ago. But yeah, the body dysmorphia stuff like really snuck in. I can remember having a lot of arguments with my mom actually, and I think this is what was going on about wanting to wear clothes, but I would tell her like, I don't look feminine enough, or like I don't look thin enough, and she was like, you're fine. What you're asking for is to have stuff like tailor-made, like skin tight on you, and I'm not going to do that. You're 16. You don't need that. And I think that what was happening was I was starting to develop body dysmorphic disorder and not see myself clearly, not understand my body at all.
Yeah. When I can identify with all of this so much, because it's still hard for me today. I will, I will look at myself and think, it's hard to say, but I will think that I look fat. And that's really hard for me to say, because like you said,
it's heartbreaking.
It is, because I know that's not the truth, and I know that's an old way of thinking, and it is just like with the food restriction, it's much better than it used to be. And then I'll look at myself in a picture and I'm like, why would I think that of myself? Like, why? Why would I even see that?
Yeah.
Because I can look in the mirror and really make that, I can justify that I'm feeling that way, that I look that way. And it's just like, why is my vision telling me these things? Or is it my mind? Or what is it?
Yeah. That's so interesting, the mirror versus the picture. When I'm in front of the mirror in the mornings, like trying to figure out what to wear, I'm like, I feel fat. And a part of me is like so embarrassed to admit that, because I'm like, like it's shallow and petty, and like there's so many other things for me to care about in the world, and like why do I keep going back to this one stupid thought? But it is what it is. And I'd rather just be honest with you and share it with people. Like, yeah, I have that thought daily and it's annoying and I'm working on it.
Yeah, I mean, and I would too. That's really, and it's probably one of the hardest things I've said in any of these discussions. And
Wow.
because I've identified with thinking that since I was little.
Oh gosh,
I know.
I'm sorry.
Well, and it's okay. I was always really tall, and so that was another thing. It was like, you're tall, you're pretty, but people used to say big, and that was a trigger for me because I saw myself as like tall and big, and my friends were much smaller and petite, and so I had this vision of myself as being this very large.
Yeah.
A child, and I look back at those pictures and it just was totally false, you know. I was a string bean.
Yeah.
But you know, it had to do with the word big and it just was something that was I mean I've had in my mind since I was very little, and so it's hard to change those thoughts. We were talking about earlier things like Botox and fillers and, you know, ways that women and some men too, you know, try and use these new tools, or not so new anymore, to keep themselves looking young. Are those things that you identify with, or?
Yeah, that is such an interesting topic, and it is something I think about a lot because for me it like falls into the category of like I heard somebody say fear of aging the other day, somebody talking on TV about like this kind of collective fear of aging that we have, and that just really got me thinking about it so much. And I mean, I did share with you that I not only that, but I've surgically altered my body for visual to be what I thought was more attractive. I have gotten Botox, I have gotten fillers, I do get facials. So I think it's like a really interesting thing that I've just been thinking about a lot lately. Like where do I draw the line, and where is this me trying to just, you know, present myself in the way that I want to look, and am I going back into this place of like trying to change myself because the way I look isn't good enough? Or am I doing these things because I'm afraid of getting old and wrinkly, which is going to happen.
I know.
There's no way.
I'm definitely doing it for those things. I'll be totally honest.
So I'm not going to sit here and say like, no, we should boycott all those things. It's just something that I'm aware of. I really worry about the beauty industry and the beauty standards we're setting for ourselves here, particularly in America, of it being such a slippery slope, where just at the bottom of the slippery slope is like this horrible dark place of unhappiness.
I totally agree. And what you were saying too about social media, because we did grow up with magazines, and I feel like the magazines I look at lately, they do have different images of women. But on social media, I do think that there are women that are putting themselves out there, that this is what no makeup, and but there is also these that certain women that want to airbrush every ounce of their body.
Yeah. Well, and it's so easy. I think we had talked about this previously. And there's an app, because I downloaded it one time. I'm so embarrassed to admit, but it's called Facetune. You know, you can Facetune out of your photo, or
really?
You know, things like that. It's just so
in my mind. I'm like,
like wait, let me write this down. It's so easy with today's technology to filter your appearance, to alter the way you look. It's just so dang easy, and I'm so worried that girls who may not fully understand that are going to be like, well, that's how I should look too, and then like pursue something that's not attainable or healthy.
Right.
It's terribly unhealthy to try and look like that.
I want to kind of take in your artwork and then the things that we've been talking about. Do you, when you're painting, do you paint? I think we were talking about a friend of yours earlier that actually was painting about their eating disorder. Have you ever done that?
I have not painted about my eating disorder specifically, but kind of along those lines, I will tell you that painting self-portraits and doing self-portraits, I feel like it pushed me forward leaps and bounds in getting healthier and getting away from anorexia and bulimia, and not letting that control my life. Because, I mean, I've thought about why this would happen, but the only thing I can think is that it is now retraining my brain to really accurately observe things, specifically the human body. So in my painting practice, I'm really interested in depicting the human figure, not so much myself, because now I've painted like 20 self-portraits and I'm so sick of self-portraits. I'm done with that. But looking at other people's bodies, and I paint, I guess I'm a realistic painter, but I paint really expressively. So I've had to really develop the left side of my brain, I guess, to really accurately see and interpret and then put down on the canvas what's really, really there. So that's like the opposite of body dysmorphia, right?
Right.
So I also credit that for kind of getting me over some of these challenges, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But like directly like depicting eating disorders as a subject in my work, I haven't done that yet, but I'm not opposed to it at all. I think that would be an amazing subject to paint. And like you said, I do know one person that is starting to address that in their paintings right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to just see how you keep progressing in your work, because it's fabulous.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I know we've talked about ways that have helped you through this process. One of them was you started to see a therapist close to the office, and then your artwork. And I think one time, did you mention yoga at one point?
Yeah, so interestingly, my therapist, like her specialty was helping people with eating disorders, but she was also a yoga teacher, yoga practitioner. She herself has overcome a lot of eating disorders, and she frequently went to India to like study yoga, like continually. So one interesting thing, or I shouldn't speak for her, but at the time that she was working with me, her kind of theory and approach was to reconnect her patient with their body. So one thing that I've experienced with eating disorders and body dysmorphia is just not being connected to my body, like ignoring hunger pains, not seeing myself in a realistic way, wanting to like alter my body in pretty extreme ways, like I had mentioned, even surgically. Like that's pretty drastic. So with yoga, you're very much feeling 100% of your body, and you're really paying attention to your breath, and you're thinking about every single knuckle of every toe and finger, and so her idea was to craft these yoga sequences for me that would really emphasize like, hey, you're still connected to your body, like feel your body, appreciate your body.
Yeah, you just seem to have come so far, and really, I think it's just really important, one, that you're able to share this, and I really appreciate it. But just to hear where you've been and gone from anorexia and bulimia and body dysmorphia, and now the steps that you have taken to get to a point where you're feeling, comfortable, more comfortable in your skin, and not having to use those things to such an extreme, and like we said earlier, I don't know if these things will ever fully go away, but it's nice to, I'm sure, be able to manage them, or feel more comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, if you feel like therapy or counseling is something that you want to do, I honestly think search for a counselor or a therapist that specializes in eating disorders and treating that. Another thing I'd recommend too, if a person feels comfortable with it, is maybe find others who are like you, which there are a lot of other people going through this, a ton.
There are.
I would dare say like most people that we know deal with something like this to some degree. And there are meetup groups around Austin I was never brave enough to go to a meetup group for people dealing with eating disorders, but I know they exist. And I just feel like what you and I are doing right now, just having an honest conversation about it, if a person can have an honest conversation about their challenges with someone who's having a similar situation, I mean, there's no way that wouldn't, at least bring you a sense of support, and maybe that's a good starting place.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be one small step in any direction that can really help change the course of, your path, and you're worth it. We're worth it. Being able to be healthy in our skin and
I guess another thing I would think too is an exercise that you could do on your own is really, and this sounds goofy, but maybe like physically write it out, all the things that you value yourself for that don't have to do with your appearance, because everybody has things that they contribute to the world and things that they can value themselves for that doesn't have to do with what they're eating or how they look.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
so much. I could sit here and go on and on with you.
Oh,
about
me
this.
too.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do it again because it is really important, and it is for our younger generation, as we were saying, because I don't see social media slowing down in that direction, and so I don't know what that will look like.
But maybe we bring more honesty to social media, like by posting things like this.
Absolutely.
And I routinely, I'm weaning off a pretty serious medication right now for chronic pain, and I've been posting about what it's like to go through the withdrawals of that medication, and I'm finding a little like a sub community, just for that, just based on what I'm posting. So I feel like it could be used as a tool for good too.
Yeah, where can people go online to look at your work? And
you can look at my Instagram's my only social media. I'm like an old fuddy-duddy, and I don't have TikTok. But my Instagram handle is Makenna Hatter Paxton, and I have a website, www.makennahatterdesign.com.
Yeah, great. And we'll have your spelling of your name and everything up on the video. That's okay. Once again, I want to thank Makenna for joining us here at Mend, because we believe that when we break our silence, we can break the stigma. Thank you again.